I believe that we're all here for one goal and one goal only. We all want peace.
Indeed, Leggett. That is exactly why we are here, friend.
I believe at the start of things, let us speak with the leading parties of the representatives and speak somewhere private.
Indeed.
And then
Somebody's
perhaps
talking right now.
we could speak more publicly after.
Alright, Wardrick, Barons, and the remaining High Courts, we can step into the room to the right with your leading delegation as well, Leggett.
Of course. That will be Dawnstar.
I would say
Solitude.
just the one.
Would you mind
the
if
leaders
Bushwalker's in
of
there as
just
well,
one
would you?
each. I'm not going to bring
Man,
my house
this is
girls and everything in there.
Yes,
What
the
are you
leader.
saying out here?
Good luck in there.
Leggett,
This is
would
going to
you
be a
mind if,
squeeze.
Bushwalker's in there.
Yeah, we're gonna have this room stuffed to the brim, aren't we?
Right now.
Squeeze in here, squeeze.
I'll speak to Vashon.
Sorry.
Why is Miss Walker in there? Is he part of...
Mist.
Keep peace out here.
Yes.
If there's any members of the lower courts of the representatives that don't need to be here, I would like to kindly ask those to step out.
Over here, Azog. Leggett, I present to you the war leader of the Largashbur. Azog.
I was talking about Voshagra, not Largashbur.
He as well was at the door and wished to come in and enter.
Oh.
I am of Voshagra.
Oh,
I am completely mistaken then.
no, there's two.
There's
Who is
Gamak
who?
right there. Gamak is the.
So introduce yourself to both of the Orsimas. I do not know who's who in all honesty. Are you both
I'm Gemuk.
Voshagra?
Yes, I'm Gemuk the Vengeful, priest of Malakath the Voshwagra. We are the true Voshwagra. We are the ones that were kicked out of East March by the corrupt Jarl Tilvani and Largashbur. They never challenged our chieftain in duel, so they were never able to gain the right to take control of our stronghold, such as the Code of Malakath and our culture. They are not Voshwagra, we are.
Hail, everyone.
Largashbur.
Let me introduce myself. I am the war leader Azog of the Largashbur Orcs. We took over Voshagra after they were exiled by the Jarl for breaking a blood oath. From the moment you broke your blood oath to the Jarl, which I know you've disputed, you are no longer Stronghold Orcs, and you voluntarily vacated that stronghold and released it to us. This is not a point of dispute, Gemuk. With all due respect.
First of all, sovereignty of a stronghold is not up to any hold to decide. It's up to the Empire to decide.
Exactly.
I don't disagree.
So the fact.
So that self-imposed Jarl had no right to do any in that matter.
As far as I understand, it was part of the terms that were being undergone after discussion with the governor, which I do believe makes this entire matter more complex as far as imperial bureaucracy goes.
Yes, if I may second on that, I believe it was the in the terms of the ceasefire that we vacate the old Vashwagra and suppose take the Largashbur Orcs under our wing to control them per se.
But we no longer operate out of Largashbur. Our entire hold is in Voshagra.
So you guys are, how do I say this, merging into one?
That's correct. It's confusing because there's an old Voshagra and a quote-unquote new Voshagra, but we call ourselves Largashbur to help delineate that difference, if that makes sense.
Leggett, I can speak on the behalf of Gamak, as I know the Vashwagra that he is referring to is that of the one that Yara Florian interjected in without going into all of that. He and I have spoken in depth about those events, and many of his stronghold were present during those incidents.
So who was a part of the party that attacked Morthal and slain civilians and citizens?
Largashbur.
Largashbur.
That is what I heard as well.
What do you have to answer to that, Azog?
I was not of that war band, but the other war leaders communicated to me that no civilians were slain. There was a guard that was attempted to be arrested, and he swung first, and the orcs that were present defended themselves. That is the narrative that I am aware of, and I will make a point to say that from this point forward, the orcs that do remain, and those that have not fled Skyrim, are interested in a long-term peace and integration with the Legion. And the path forward really is a matter of how we will improve from that point.
You do have to understand that that may be the narrative that you received. The narrative that the other 8 holds received is that a lot of citizens got slaughtered in Morthal.
We had many citizens present there coming to my hold in refuge, seeking asylum as they were struck at and many struck down. It was confirmed they were circled around in the center of Morthal and attacked unprovoked, and I find it very interesting in the term that you use, that they were defending themselves while they're on what is clearly an attack on a hold, which, to my opinion, was not really providing an effort to the war either way.
The citizens of Morthal also took refuge in Markov during these attacks.
The point that I'll make there is around the skirmishes that were going on at the time. I'm not going to sit here and defend the decisions of my chief, as I was a newer war leader at the time. But again, all of the actions of Largashbur, as stated by the war leaders at the time, was that they were acts of war against military combatants. We would not positively represent the murder or the assault on civilians. That is not within the code of Malakath.
Where is your chief now?
He is gone, fled, and I fill in for his stead. And I realized that...
He's left permanently?
That is the information that I have, but I fill a stronghold with only a few remaining orcs, and I seek an honorable outcome following a most honorable war.
I find it interesting that you are defending the actions of someone who has fled you and left you alone. Oh. I think there is a clear wrongdoing by those that were in charge. But we have to find a way forward. That is most important.
I would acknowledge that there may be some wrongdoing, and if I need to be accountable for that, I'm prepared to make that step. But I would prefer to find a favorable outcome that integrates the Stronghold Way with the rules of the Legion. And that is what I'd like to take away from our talk today.
I will be putting you under detainment to await trial for the actions of the Largashbur Orcs, as you are the remaining leader of the Largashbur Orcs.
I understand.
Someone could place him under cuffs and put him into the dungeons of Windhelm for the time being.
Very well. I shall follow you, Captain.
Very honorable move. It's not.
Speak your mind, Gamma.
Greetings, Captain. Greetings.
Praetor Cassius, I hope you found honor in my words.
I did. Unfortunately, Azog, honor in your words simply cannot pay the debt of the honorless combat that we saw during the war.
Indeed. I feel the same way.
I know you were not in command of the Orcs at the time. I don't necessarily agree that you should pay for the crimes of your leader. But unfortunately, since he has abandoned you, someone must pay.
Hmm.
You can come into this cell here.
I can stay with him until a proper guard is relieving me.
Very good.
Very well, thank you. I trust him.
I'm sure you're already aware, just make sure whenever he's awake, there's at least one guard with him.
But as you can probably imagine, we've seen you at many battles. Some were pretty annoying and sketchy, I guess, as you could say. And they're just a little concerned about the Largashbur, right?
Sure, it's understandable, and war is war, and I would never hide my face or lie and say that I didn't have honorable battles with the Legion. But this is a question of our honor after the fact, and what happens when battles end. And it's my intent to make sure we have the best possible resolution for all of Skyrim, for Eastmarch, for the Legion, from this point forward. And if I have to die on behalf of Largashbur to make sure that there is peace, that is something that I'm willing to accept. But I would like to be involved in the path forward to a better solution for all of us.
I will tell you, obviously, this is just my personal opinion, but I don't see an execution place. I see a lot of questioning and a lot of really put together answers from you, obviously. There's a lot of stuff we really don't know. I mean,
Sure.
as you can tell.
And clearly I need to illustrate that from what you've been telling me. And honestly, I've only ever known what's been told to me by the chief. And this has felt to be a most dishonorable outcome in the last few weeks. And I feel shame, and it's something that we need to resolve.
Would you trust me into the, like I told you earlier, would you trust me to ask you a couple questions? I mean, it's nothing personal. I want to get the facts straight.
Sure, I will answer honestly.
Like this will be a good opportunity for you to prove yourself to the Legion as we can talk on a personal level, but most of this will be conspired to the higher ups of the Legion to inform them of what really is going on, right? So
of course.
But basically, my biggest question right now is, because I simply don't know, and this is a personal question, who is like the guy in charge of all the acts of Largashbur that just left, right? That just...
Sure, let me describe our organizational structure to you and how decisions are made.
Okay.
We have our chieftain, that is Blood Urtuk. He makes all decisions. He is our single-threaded leader. From there is a second in command. That is our Blood Regent. That is Olruk. From there, we have multiple war leaders, of which I am one. The war leaders are effectively captains. We're responsible for the coordination of troops in battles and skirmishes to make sure that the war we wage is honorable and follows the code of Malakath. The strategy and the decisions of where we attack and when and whom is made by the chief and the Blood Regent. There are some war leaders who I suspect may have partaken in dishonorable acts, but they act in isolation, as each war leader is responsible for their own troops at the time of a battle. It's an example I can give you is why I don't know a lot about the details of Morthal, but I know them secondhand, whereas you may have seen me at the battles of Fort Dunstead, where there were many troops gathered in one place.
Of course. And like I said, I really do respect you on a personal level, because you probably don't remember me, but I know quite a bit about you, Vashagra, and Largashbur, because actually, before I joined the Legion, I spent a lot of time around some of you. I didn't really introduce myself to the Stronghold as a whole, but I knew a lot of your people. And I actually remember you from Vashagra, and you seemed, I mean, obviously I never really truly met you, but from what I remember, you seemed very reasonable and willing to negotiate, and I don't see you as the person that you're painted to be. Although at the same time, I do remember you at quite a few battles where, although you didn't say disrespectful things and
Yes, I already know what you're
treat
going to
and
say.
act out of place, although a bunch of the people under your command did. And I completely understand that you can't control everyone, right? Everyone has their own personality, and from between me and you, I completely understand, and I've even voiced this myself. But at the same time,
Can I tell you
I
something
need
about
more.
this in transparency?
Of course, and of course, this is
So,
between me and you. I'm whispering
the
it.
when we joined the Voshagra Orcs, we were an orc faction of approximately 45 people, I think, once the cap was removed. And at that time, obviously there was a lot of drift. There were certainly most vile things said in combat. I'm sure there were acts of dishonor that I may not have seen, and I definitely don't want to defend those actions. But what I am telling you is that for the orcs that remain, there's approximately, I think, 7 confirmed that remain. And you made a comment about my perspective and my reasonability compared to the other war leaders, and I would acknowledge that that's true. And for those that remain, and if I am to be in a position of leadership, this is the direction that I'm trying to take us in. And I've decided to take a gamble and make this case to the Legion, the long-term survival of those that want to remain. Everyone that was partaking in the acts of evil, shall we say, have already left Skyrim. They do not remain, and you can say that the fat has been removed. But I do recognize that evil is evil, and I don't know whether it was truly done or not, but all I can give you is my perspective and what the path forward looks like for me and my orcs.
So I appreciate that, and I completely agree, 100% actually. I'm sorry, 1 second. I have to do something in my head. Sorry.
No worries.
I have
we
keys
can
to
use
all
the
the
chest.
buildings, but it's just the chest.
This is going well, and you guys can't hear me, but
I would be surprised if that chick had
Okay,
any
sorry.
authority, but at the
So
same time, she's a
basically,
woman, so...
The
yeah, we'll see.
thing I'm trying to talk to you about is, like, what do you see as fair? I mean, because do you have any reputation with the Legion? I assume not, right? Because I know...
Honestly, no. The only interaction I've ever heard has been in combat, and what I've been told by the chief. I always operated out of the Rift until we were told to move up towards East March for the war.
Of course. So, I really just wish to gather your opinion. I mean, you probably won't be asked this again because who the fuck wants to know someone else's opinion, right? But
Sure.
I'm actually completely interested in your opinion because although I'm a Centurion and I'm supposed to be the most professional and respectable person in the Legion, I honestly have quite a big heart, and I do care because I feel bad for the Voshagra the first go around, right? Of what happened. I think it was handled a little poorly on both sides, and I think we could have found a better explanation and reasoning to fix the problems we had. So the reason I speak to you now, just me and you, and I don't have to do this, I was not told to do this, is I wish to know what you think is a reasonable medium, because obviously you've been caught hanging around some people that are obviously, as you see, they have left Skyrim. They don't care about the rules of war and being respectful to others and whatever. So I'd really just like to gather your opinion on what you think is truly fair in this, just a truly fair outcome for you and the people that got hurt in this, because you have to think this has gone on for quite some time.
Sure.
At least 2 weeks, and it's been a constant 2 weeks. Like, I know for me, I love to fight. They call me one of the best fighters in the Legion, if not the best. I duel all day long. That's all I do, and I love fighting. But this has really not been fun for anyone, I think.
Yeah.
And it may have been fun for some, but it definitely wasn't fun for our side. Like, we just staying up late as fuck, 24 hours, just fighting over and over and over, and rules being broken, war rules, of course, and I just wish to know what is a good medium for you, because honestly,
I have a good answer for you, I think.
I gave a lot of the information to the legate regarding you and your group, but at the same time, I'm very reasonable, and I do not, and just between me and you, I do not care for you to be executed. I don't think that's really going to solve anything, because if the people come back that are causing these problems, they're going to continue to do what they wish anyways.
I tend to agree.
So again, I just want to hear what you think would be fair, but keep in consideration that people have been really affected by this.
Yep.
In Skyrim and out of Skyrim, right? And it's just been a rough patch, and I really hope the next war will be better, but just go ahead and give me what you think would be fair and what you hope to be the outcome besides just you dying here and let's calling it a day, because I don't think that's the proper way to do it, honestly.
The codes of Malakath can be honored in many ways, and war is not the only one. I think in many ways mistakes were made with our prayers to the Aedra, and we may have focused too much on Malakath and what he would have wanted. In the long term, I think the breaking of those rules of the land became something that was just too integrated into all of us. What I can tell you, though, that the question is a little confusing because there's an outcome that is relevant to Eastmarch, and then there's an outcome that is relevant to the Orcs of the Stronghold, as those are two different things. What I can tell you is that
there's an outcome in between?
Definitely. At the end of the day, the Orcs of the Stronghold, I believe, were too heavily integrated into the interests of Eastmarch. I think a certain level of interaction is appropriate, but to be leveraged as a military fighting force is not really the Stronghold way. And the Stronghold is a way of life in the same way that worshipping the Eight is a way of life. It's a type of faith, and that is something that myself and the remaining Orcs want to reorient towards. We are not interested in needless wars and needless conflict. While we do want to defend the citizens of Skyrim and the citizens of the holds we inhabit, there are many other ways that we and Orcs like us can honor Malakath as we learn the ways of the Ash Warden. At the end of the day, it is a question for the Legion, and who are they comfortable with taking ownership of the holds, and will they act in the benefit of Skyrim? And that is the case that I am making to you, Centurion. It is up to you.
In your opinion, do you think the, I guess you would say the former Vashagra, or the bad guys, what I mean by this is, I know the guy in the meeting probably wasn't an original. At least I don't remember him as being an original.
I guess I didn't answer that question. If I can interject, let me explain that some more. So they voluntarily left from my perspective and from the perspective of the rest of Largashbur. They were all given the chance to integrate and join us, and go ahead.
Before you speak anymore, I just want to, while we're on this topic, because I've heard this as well before, do you agree that in the Code of Malakath, instead of giving up, they should have offered you maybe a duel or something, or what do you mean?
Yeah, so we expected them to engage in conflict. They were given 3 hours to collect their things. Then from that point, they were either to vacate or defend their stronghold against us in honorable combat. And when we approached, it was vacant. And then from there, the Jarl gave us ownership of the hold, and they had fled, recognizing them formally as oathbreakers in our eyes. Which is why this is a point of contention for us, but in all honesty, we wanted the Orcs of Vashagra to join us, but there was naturally some bad blood, and we've been trying to get them to come back, but I think some of the other war leaders made that more challenging. At the end of the day, I want to see peace amongst all the Orcs, and I did try to talk to them today at the hold, but I know there's still some bad blood we need to resolve. And if they're aligned with this way of life, we can see peace, although I expect we would need to exist in separate holds given the bad blood. but I have no ill will towards them at this point, but I don't believe they have any true right to Voshoagra.
So, I'm just curious, this is a personal question honestly, but why would you want Voshoagra? Like, what strived you guys to move there? I know the Jarl kicked Voshoagra out, but what made Largashbur want to move to Voshoagra? And a separate question that I'd like to ask, before we go too far, is why, you're good, why did you decide to leave Voshoagra and go to Largashbur? Because I remember you being in Voshoagra, and I thought you were very well off there, honestly.
Centurion, I just realized you may be confusing me with another Azog. I've only ever been a part of Largashbur. If you think I've been a part of the original Voshoagra, that's a different Azog.
Were there 2 Azogs?
There were actually 3. There was one of Morkezgar. I believe there was one from Voshoagra. And then I was of Largashbur. But I've heard tales of the other Azog, and I've heard tales that he was a well-mannered storyteller, and he was loved by a lot, and he brought honor to the name. But what I will tell you is that the issue of Voshoagra is not really an issue of the hold. I believe the chief moved there because they had planned to provide military support to Eastmarch. But to answer the question of why I want the hold, it's not really a matter of Voshoagra, it's a matter of maintaining the way of life that we're looking to hold on to. The orcs that remain are the ones that want to follow the code of Malakath and really lean into the cultural practices of what make us stronghold orcs. That's not just war. That's a lot of other things. And I have people that agree with me, and I would like to see that practice continued. And I believe that's something that is amiable and integratable with the Legion.
Of course. And now that you told me that, although I really have no way of proving it, I wish to trust you, and I believe that I could have possibly made a mistake and you may be a different Azog, so that changes a little bit.
Can I tell you my story?
Much. Of course, I would love to hear it actually.
Just let me tell you how I came to Skyrim. I crossed from northern Cyrodiil into the Rift as a hunter. I was wandering by myself for a while, until I encountered the Orcs of Largashbur. I joined them under the Chieftain Drogon when Chief Joe Burke still held Voshoagra, and when we rallied. I believe that was around the time the other Azog passed, and when I started to become a more core part of the Largashbur stronghold. And then when we slowly moved after, I think that's where the confusion has come from, if that helps clarify things.
Yeah, it does, slightly. It definitely helps me understand, at least. So I appreciate that, you fixing that for me.
Sure.
Honestly, I don't really have any more questions. You've answered plenty enough, and I appreciate your time. Although I preview trying to add anything else you possibly think you can, because in all honesty, I do wish for you guys to just be orcs and just live out in your stronghold, and I wouldn't say be indifferent and just hide in your stronghold all the time, but I would like to see you guys thrive and kind of be away from your, or not yours, but away from the politics per se.
I agree with this.
And just follow Malakath, and I love the way of the orcs, I really do. I've always liked it, just fighting and honor and whatever, you know, all that stuff.
That's what we strayed away from, Centurion. Like, that's what it really comes down to. And I recognize that, you know, there are some disagreements between the holds on who follows the true code, who follows the true way, and the means of how we resolve our own politics is something that should be handled between the orcs. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure that this is in line with the priorities of the Legion and with the citizens of Skyrim broadly.
Very well. Well, I appreciate it. I'm going to continue to gather information while they speak in their meeting, in hopes that I can gather some information that helps your side, I guess. So
I appreciate the support.
A little bit of time. maybe I can gather more information and we can see what we can do. You seem very well put together, honestly, or either you're a very good liar, and I have to be honest, I'm very modest, but I do think I'm very good at interrogating and
transparent?
speaking to people, but you seem very, yeah, of course, you seem very put together, and I appreciate that.
My journey with this stronghold either ends with my death, or it ends with me rebuilding it from the ashes. And that's my ask here. Any outcome...
Largashbur, right? Not Vashagra.
Either one. From my perspective, they're one and the same. It's really just the stronghold of orcs that we have. Obviously, I would not want to lose Vashagra, as we all consider that our home now, but the point that I just want to make is that, quite simply, this is all I have, and this is me making a case for it, and I've never been in a position of leadership where I can steer the broader strategy of our hold in a way that is more amiable with the Legion, and I'm trying to take this chance now. And this is a stance that is echoed by some other orcs that I know that have felt the same, and we're looking to unify against that vision and take control of the hold so that we may spread our culture and vision for orcs with the other holds as well.
Very well. Although I will tell you that no matter what happens, even if they decide to spare you, the last thing that's going to happen is they're not going to let you take Vashagra, as obviously they want their stronghold back. That is something you guys can handle way later down the line, so of course me and you are just speaking person to person, but if you are asked by the legate to bring forward a case, do not bring that up, as that is not the priority, and
yeah, I won't hone in on specific strongholds. That's not really where the focus is for us.
Focus on the way of life, focus on how you... We don't need the orcs to be by our side, but we just need them to not be against us, right? I don't need you to speak to the legate and tell him that you're gonna be servants of the Legion or anything crazy like that. We don't even expect that at all from you guys. Just be honest. We don't need enemies from the orcs. We just really don't. You guys are focused on war. We're focused on war and diplomacy, right? I mean, you guys are good fighters. We don't need that right now. We're trying to get things going and get peace going, and then when time comes, of course there will be war, but this is not the time. I appreciate everything you said. I know you are not just a person of war, and I see that now. I will continue to gather some information. I will leave these guards to watch over you. Cool. Just keep in mind the gate is unlocked. I'm just simply trusting you. It seems a little loose here. I will trust you to stay put.
I am not. No, I'm just coming to check up.
Information, and we'll go from there. But thank you for trusting me and telling me what you have.
I believe so.
Yeah, thank you for the conversation. I know this is a precarious position, and like I said, want to make sure we all have a good outcome here.
So please don't do anything dumb.
Of course, thank you. Hello, Azog. So I brought a member of Vashagra here just to...
Is that you, Glug?
Yeah.
Oh, brother, it's been a while. It's good to see you.
Yeah, hey. Kind of bad circumstances, but...
To have some kind of closing remarks, per se, as, there's two things that are gonna happen. Either you're gonna be let out and you guys are probably gonna fight, someone's gonna be executed. You know the way things go. I just wish for you guys to properly communicate, act as if this is the last time you guys speak, and speak as humans, I guess, and just let out anything you have.
We're not humans, we're orcs!
As orcs, I guess.
Well, I do have something to say to you.
And everything.
Yeah.
But I appreciate everything.
When you first left Vashagra, there was something that I said to you. We had always wanted you to join, and we always wanted you to integrate with us and follow the code of Malakath. And I know that through this war we've become separated, but I've always felt that you were a true ally and true kin. And even if this may end in a duel between us in the honor of Malakath, you were always most honorable. And I'm sad to say that our relationship has grown strained in recent weeks through the war. But I hope you can remember where we come from and what the true way of Malakath is.
I appreciate that, and yeah, I think there has just been a difference of opinion on events that happened. I'm not gonna lie, I can kind of understand that you guys thought we broke our oath, but I mean, I was there when we swore the oath, and it was to Yarl Thorgil, and I think that you and I can both agree on this, especially now that you're kind of on the receiving end that we were on at one point, is that orcs should not be involved in politics and holds. And so whenever Thorgil died, and that's who we swore our oath to, we wanted to set an example for all orcs that we should not be involved in shit like this. And, you know, you guys have your, you know, your interpretation that we broke our oath and all that. Like, I get it. I'm honestly not gonna listen to it. And I don't think that you're necessarily a bad guy. But, dude, your group was doing some crazy stuff. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and what I will tell you is that, like, the goal was always to follow the way of Malakath, and, you know, I took the statements from our war priests with true validity, and, you know, when they say that you were oath breakers, from our perspective, it was obviously so, given that both Largashbur and, you know, at least our perception that Voshagra had made a blood oath to the hold, it gave us a lot of good finding. But what I will tell you is that I've always been focused on not necessarily the unification, but the good interest of all orcs across all holds. And for me, this is not an issue of Voshagra. It's not an issue of Largashbur. It's an issue of retaining the way of Malakath and the orc way of life in the stronghold way, in a way that is isolated, in the way that it should be. I don't disagree with your outlook, Glugluck, and I'm not asking for favors, and I'm not asking for your forgiveness. I came here to make a point and to make a case that not all the orcs of Largashbur committed acts of evil, whether they were true or not. I can't say for sure. All I can tell you is that I am honorable, and I want to continue following the path of honor.
I see. Yes, that's, I mean, that's good to hear. Let me ask you this, the people that, you know, left Skyrim or wherever they may go, who were they and how many of you are left?
I don't have my bearings on that. I've been trying to figure out where Largashbur stands with the Legion before I give any type of potential false hope. But of the approximate 40 orcs that we had, I would guess that there's somewhere around 10 or less that would follow me, and the vision that I'm proposing here. I'm acting as a representative for the few orcs that remain and that have not fled Skyrim. And
why?
Sorry, Glugluck, what did you say?
Oh, I just said, right.
Yeah, and really, like, they're all gone. And so the point that I'm trying to make is that any of the bad blood or any of the fat, as you might say, has already been cut and is already gone. And anyone you punish here will be the good ones, for lack of a better phrase, and I'm prepared to bear that burden if it's needed, because there was no one else to. But I would like to see a return to the honorable way, the way of Malakath.
Okay, so I do want to ask, I mean, I have a feeling you're going to agree with me on this. Do you kind of see, because this is how we ended up feeling before we got, you know, banished and all that shit. Don't you kind of see that the Jarl was just using you kind of as attack dogs? And I mean, let's be honest, if he didn't have you guys fighting in that war, they would have gotten fucking destroyed in a day. Like, every fight that happened, it was like 70% Largashbur orcs, 30%
Yeah, brother. I mean,
out.
we were operating on a certain amount of information, and my goal was always to bring honor to my stronghold and my chief, and I'll stand by the fact that it was for the forces I commanded in honorable war, and I will defend that to the day I die. And what I will say to you is that if I need to defend that right in honor or through a duel, I'm prepared to do that, but I would truthfully love to see this resolved peacefully, Glugluck. I know the banishment of you and your clan was hard, but the ask was always to integrate, and that's still the proposal that I have here. I know that there's bad blood, and I'm not saying that we necessarily need to be in a stronghold ourselves, but I'm offering a statement of peace and of coexistence amongst the holds, And I think that's something that you would agree is honorable.
Yeah, I see. Honestly, sorry, I'm just getting some of my thoughts out. I just think that the whole y'all kicking us out was like, dude, that was like, it's just kind of ironic to me because you guys were breaking the code by having a Jarl tell us to weave instead of challenging our chieftain or whatever while calling us Oathblade, because it just doesn't make sense. Like in Orcish culture, you don't have a Jarl of a nearby city tell you have to weave your stronghold and then gang up with a bunch of other people and threaten our wives inside of a castle. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I think
That
the
is
Jarl took
completely
too
against the
forward of a
code.
role in that engagement, and I won't disagree with that. I think given that, like, from our perspective, the Blood Oath was broken, we were an enforcement arm that the Jarl communicated that exile, and that was something that our chief should have taken a more forward role on. So I won't disagree on the delivery being poor. And look, I'm not looking for sympathy here. Like, I recognize I'm in a similar position, and I could have very easily not walked into the palace to make this case.
Yeah.
What I will tell to you is that, again, I'm trying to make a statement that we are honorable orcs. I always believed you to be honorable orcs, even if at the time you were oathbreakers in our eyes. And we just need to remember what the true goal of our way of life is.
Yes, I agree. So, like, I know some of the Largashbur guys. I don't know who left, who stayed. There are people in your group that, I'm not gonna lie, I would even
let me
consider
frame
my
it for
friends.
you this way. None of the war leaders that you know are around. The chief is not around. The only one who I haven't confirmed is still here is the Blood Regent Ulrok. Every other leader is not here. So any other orc that remains is an oath sworn or a recent initiate in kin. We're in a state of disarray, Gluglock. The only reason I'm here is to provide some sense of stability, and if I die, then that stability goes away.
I gotcha.
I don't mean to interrupt, but quickly before we end this conversation, I would like to maybe convene with the two of you and gather a list of people that you guys think have been serious problems in this conflict. And what I mean by that is, I know on the Windhelm side or other sides, but the real...
They want me to flag a shit list of everyone.
The issues of the orcs, like, who has been causing all these issues? Because we have to put the blame on someone, right?
I mean, you do. So I'm gonna say that. Sorry, no offense, Azog. The chieftain was absolutely terrible. I mean, the guy, he was making decisions that were fucking crazy.
Yeah, what I will say, in all truth, I don't know I guess the simple answer would be yes, because I didn't know the true nature of the decisions that were being made, and much of the information and accounts that have been provided to me today are not at all what I saw firsthand or what I was told. But I acknowledge that I obviously don't see the entire battlefield on the war, and that must have been the case or was likely.
So let me ask, I know I've asked before, but I don't really remember off the top of my head. What was the chieftain's name, so I can write it down here?
The chieftain was Blood or Tuck.
Would you spell the last part for me? I heard blood, but I didn't hear the rest.
B-L-U-D, Blood, Urtuk, U-R-T-U-K.
Very well, thank you. Were there any other problem orcs, per se?
In truth, I can't really. That would be a question for Gluglock, because I can't confirm any of the bad acts of any of the war leaders, as I didn't see them firsthand, and they didn't tell me.
Honestly, the thing is, like, the war leaders were a lot of the ones that I knew.
I can list out all of our war leaders' names, so you're familiar with all of them, and I'm not sure who they may have been that committed maybe less favorable acts, but the first one that most people know is Dushnak, the Dreadful.
I want you to name out the ones that you're 100% not sure about. I think we have gained a little bit of trust here, and I'm willing to trust you if you think someone maybe has not caused so many issues.
Well, what I can tell you is who's fled Skyrim, if that helps.
this would probably help me, as this is probably the ones that have caused the most issues, as it seems like most of them have left.
I haven't seen the chief. I haven't seen, the Schneck, the Dreadful. Let me pull out my notes of our organization one moment.
Very well, thank you.
Yeah, also the problem with that is they went on a crazy recruiting spree. So I'd say about 90% of their orcs, I don't even have the names. So I couldn't even tell you.
That's my point. Like, I can give you our senior leaders, and at the end of the day, like, if orcs were doing bad things under their command, they would definitely be accountable for that.
We could name orcs all day, right? And I don't mean to cut you off, but the thing I'm really looking for is who are the problem orcs, and I know you might not be aware, but who are you sure of, I guess, is what I'm looking for. Because
yeah, I have those names ready for you right now.
They might come back at some point, and I would really like to know if I'm dealing with one of them in the future, per se. As we have not really shaken hands with many orcs, and they could be walking among us, and I may not even know, right?
Sure, I'll give you some names, but I want to clarify that this isn't a statement of guilt. It's simply who I haven't seen at the Stronghold, and who I'm assuming has fled Skyrim for some potentially negative reason. And I don't have their account confirmed. So the first would be Dushnek, the Dreadful. He's one of our war leaders. Another one that I haven't seen for a while is Grishnak. He was a goblin, half orc. If I can spell that name for you. Yeah.
I would love that, actually, because I'm struggling here.
Alright, Grishnak.
Thank you for that. And the one you said before that, do you remember?
Targ. Oh yeah, Dushnak.
Dushnak, would you spell that one for me, possibly?
Yeah, Dushnak.
Very well, I was right. Alright, proceed, please.
And then, Warg, and that's how it sounds. W-A-R-G, Warg the Wicked. He's our Acid champion. I've seen him around. And, Targ the Terrible. T-A-R-G.
I will say Targ. So the issue with Targ is, he's one that I would even consider a friend, because me and him always kind of made jokes
all I've
and
done
shit
is list
together.
out the war leaders, and I'm not sure who was taking war bands to assault civilians, if that's really true.
But I will say that dude, he wants a fight anywhere he can get it.
Yeah, which is where I can see these things happening.
I kind of in a way, I kind of love the guy, because I think me and him have bonded a little bit, but when it comes to addressing shit, his hand goes on his axe instantly.
So let me ask this real quick. Out of the 4 names the 5 names, is there any that you two can agree that are not really problems? And again, like you said, this is not an admission of guilt, but I would like to stop these people and just possibly bring them to the dungeon, not put them in a cell, not handcuff them, and just simply have a conversation with them and try to gather more information. Is there any that you guys can agree with that are, I guess, good actors, per se, that I shouldn't have to worry about? Is there anyone you guys can
definitely in the clear. He's gone into a cave in hiding amidst all the horror news lately, but I believe that I could get through to him again. He was always a good war leader.
Glishnak, I don't even know that well. I'm not gonna lie.
He was the last war leader promoted after me. So even in light of all that, he would have become a war leader at the very end of the war.
Very well. Well, I shall put him at the bottom. Although I'm really looking for maybe people you guys are mutual with, that you guys can agree with, that I really don't have to worry about, because obviously I just want to ask more questions, and there's only so much I can ask the two of you.
Sure, I understand.
I'm looking for more insightfulness, per se, and I think this group.
Well, I can, honestly, if I had to take a gamble, I think Glucklock isn't entirely wrong that Targ would have been a likely candidate for things that are negative. I haven't seen him around. the aggression does check out if you need to identify one person that has a higher likelihood, but I'm not totally sure. Like, I have to clarify that.
He loves to, yeah, it's tough for me to say because
he's an incredible warrior, but he is hot-headed.
I've had good interactions with him, but dude, he wants blood a lot. Like, if he has the smallest excuse or smallest disagreement, he just wants to kill. That's what I've gathered.
I don't want to interrupt you guys anymore. Is there any more, I guess, orc leaders or, like, bad actors that aren't even technically leaders that have been with you, Azog, in these battles that you kind of worry about or that maybe I should keep an eye on? And keep in mind, I don't really see this as, per se, telling on your friends. I really think this is going to better the situation for everyone, because we have to agree here that there are some really bad actors here, and I think if we can figure out who these bad actors are, we might be able to solve a lot of these problems, right? Any name you could give me that might, I'm not telling you that, I'm not wishing you to tell me that they have to be a bad actor or what, but just someone that may have something to do with all of this war and sieging of holds and killing civilians that has been going on recently, right?
Yeah, I guess I'm assuming, Azog, that, and correct me if I'm wrong, excuse me, we're bound to tell the truth. Was the chieftain the one... Okay, so were orders coming from the Jarl to attack these holds and, like, come to Morthal and Falkweath? And because I know you guys came to Falkweath and threatened for the Bile Gulch mine. Basically said, give it to us or we're going to attack you guys.
All of our large-scale war strategy decisions came down to the chief. That was the final decision maker. Everything else was done through that context. Like, the war leaders made decisions based off of priorities given to us by the chief.
Okay. Douchnak, the only thing I actually have on him is he said, one of our bloodkin, Kitra, she's a female Bosma, leader of the, Rangers. He did say some pretty, I'm not going to repeat it, because it's pretty bad. In fact, it's stuff that the Aegir would actually completely get rid of him for. So I'm not going to repeat it.
Well, I'm certainly not going to defend anything along those lines.
Yeah, but he said some shit to her that was pretty bad. I'll repeat one thing, because I guess, and I'm not trying to get myself in trouble here, but she basically came to talk to you guys one time, and people were saying, oh, you stupid woman, get the fuck out of here, calling her, you know, the B word and shit like that, and...
You sure that was Dushnak?
The
only reason I asked that is there have been a few orcs who have said very inappropriate things, and he's one of the first to immediately yell at them for that.
Oh, okay, well, I don't want to...
So it may have been a new recruit orc, like there were certainly a few that we threatened with an immediate removal from the stronghold if they ever did it again, for that exact reason.
I know that you told me one of them was, Ulwak the Ugly, I believe.
Yeah, Ulwak. Let me check my, my scribe, one moment. Yeah, Ulwak is in our blood region.
Yeah, they were saying some wild shit, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not going to defend anything that was inappropriate, especially in the eyes of the Aedra Globlock. Like, you must know that.
Yeah, and believe me, I don't get offended by much at all, but I can understand being, you know, her in that situation.
Of course, I wouldn't defend that at all. And if there's any bad blood, like, deepest sympathies on behalf of the Largashbur Orcs.
And maybe we would have to get that information straight from her Centurion, because I wasn't there. I'm kind of giving secondhand information.
Sure.
You're fine. I appreciate you guys trying to work together here, and honestly, if it's an Aegir issue, I'm not worried about it, because it'll get settled in the end. But the main thing I'm really worried about right now is, I guess this is more of a question for Azog, and you can as well pitch in as if you know anything about it. But the only person I actually know that was in these fights, because I don't really shake hands with many of the Largashbur, is you, Azog, and I've seen you in many fights, which is not a bad thing. You have orders, you follow out, and I'm not upset with that. But I wish to know, were there any more senior officers, or how active was the chieftain during this time, and who was calling the shots per se, and who was really leading these war parties? I assume it was you, and that is not a bad thing. Like I said, you were following orders from the chieftain.
I always engaged in honorable combat. I certainly won't lie about that. But what I will tell you is I can give you the names of who was leading war bands, and you can delineate what you need to from there. The chief was active. Dushnak was active. Targ was active. I was active. Grishnak was also active on the tail end. And those were the main... and Targ and Ulrok were all leading war bands at different times. Like, what I will tell you is most of my combat was around Fort Dunstead, and on some occasions, Fort Snowhawk. I was never engaged in any attack of, like, Orthal, a hold. I never marched on any cities, and nothing of that nature. I was always following the will of the Idra.
Very well. And on a personal note, I have fought you in many battles, and you seem to be pretty honorable, although I have never spoken to you many times on my own. But the soldiers you command, not so much. I would like to ask, I know there is only one representative of Vashagra here, but, and I hate to ask this in front of Azog, but I would like him to actually hear the...
That's alright.
The result of this conclusion, right? Why do you think Azog is one of the bad actors, or even if maybe he's not, why do you think he's not one of the bad actors?
Be as honest as you need to, Gluglaw.
So, I do think Azog is an honorable orc, and I think, to be frank, I think that chieftain was fucking kind of stupid, no offense.
I mean, he's not here right now, with all due respect to my chief.
For making a lot of the decisions. I think a lot of people in your tribe were kind of misconstrued on what was right or wrong morally, especially with the Code of Malakath. Not gonna lie, I think some of your people were definitely 100% robbing people, which is not good at all.
Yeah, banditry is not honored by the code. That's very, very obvious.
Yes. I think, like, going to holds and threatening for territory that you don't own and shit like that, not good. So I'm not gonna sit here and condone the actions of Largashbur, but I also do think that Azog himself is pretty honorable, and I think that you guys kind of experienced what we did at first, and you were just being used. I mean, you guys were being used by the Jarl of Windhelm to get their goals. Like, dude, I'm telling you, that Jarl did not actually give a shit about you guys. That dude did not give a shit about you guys.
I will let you guys continue your conversation. I will speak to my praetor here for a second, without me watching over your back, so do not feel worried for me.
And that's why we pulled out of the war, because we heard that the Jarl, after we got rescued from Solitude, the fucking Jarl said, okay, now we can put them on a leash and control them. And that's exactly what they wanted to do to you.
Look, Mike.
Could you just whisper for a second, please? Thank you so much.
Yeah, look, what I will say, brother, I never wanted to see you guys get exiled and evicted. I always wanted to be a unification of the eastern tribes, and like the way it was framed for me is that, again, you guys were oath breakers, and that made sense, but it would still be a big win because we would grow numbers and integrate. We may lose some of your senior leaders. Like, I certainly feel your pain. It was a hard moment for me, even though we were technically winning, and I never viewed that as a positive. And I know you're going to have to take me at my word on that, and you may think I'm a liar, but I wanted to make a point of telling you the truth, because this will very likely end in my execution or trial by combat where I may die. And I think that's the appropriate route if it needs to be. But again, the thing that I want you to leave here with is that I'm not attached to the history of Largashbur, but I want to be a part of the better future. Whatever hold that may be. And I want you guys to be taken care of, all the true followers of Malakath. May they be blessed in Skyrim. And again, my goal is just to help the Orcs of Skyrim reach that goal. And there are a few other Orcs that remain that also share that vision with me.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I'll do what I can to, you know, I don't want to see you get executed. I think you were one of the people in Largashbur that was, you know, not too bad, but I just think we need to be more aware as Orcs that we can't be used by these fucking people, dude.
Well, Glock, like what I'll tell you is I learned, like, everything about the code from Largashbur, and so obviously, like, I had a certain amount of bias, and I won't try to hide from that. But I'm trying to take the mantle and step into a position that's more leadership oriented, and that really sets those standards, because I was escalating that it was needed a long time ago, like more buy-in with the Aedra, things like that. It created too many issues, and I was seeing it come from afar. I wanted to create peace, and you know, I can only influence so many decisions from my stronghold, you know.
And that's exactly why when Thorgil died and our oath was null and void, it didn't, you know, it wasn't an oath anymore because he was dead.
I mean, it makes sense, but
we made that conscious decision to say, okay, Orcs should not be doing this shit. Like, we shouldn't be fighting for humans and their politics.
Yes.
We should be dealing with Orc problems, and that's it.
Yeah, I was focused on the war as a way to honor Malakath, and I just didn't see through the fog. And that's something that I'll own.
Yeah, it's like I'm telling you, dude, that Windhelm has been corrupt for a long time. And listen, I'm not gonna sit here and say that all the other holds are perfect and the Legion is perfect. There's corruption fucking everywhere, and that's why we need to separate ourselves from this shit. Because if we are true Orcs. And I'm just gonna use my fucking Skyrim accent.
Oh, brother, that's funny. Yeah, speak plainly, bro.
Like, if we're gonna be like true Orcs and shit, we do not need to be like fighting in wars.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, listen. They tried to get me to leave Skyrim with them, like out of character, go to the different server. And I just was never about that. I was always about the Stronghold way, and it was really disappointing. And like, I honestly was just gonna let the Stronghold die here, and then I just had this last-ditch effort where, like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go to the court, make a case, and hopefully they can see that there's at least a few other Orcs that are willing to integrate and find something that's more sustainable. Like, I know you guys got screwed, and I don't obviously want to give up Oshagra, but I want to find something that works out where at least we can maintain, like, the true way of Malakath throughout the rest of Skyrim, wherever that is, you know.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. They're already giving us our stronghold back.
I figured they would, and really just, like, it's about the additional solutions for us and the Orcs that are remaining there. Like, if we're truly gonna get exiled, I'll act accordingly there. But I would obviously like to see...
You can speak normally now.
...everything work out for everyone, you know. We all have a hold, we're all following the way, and we're all working together.
Yeah, because I mean, Orcs could do a good service to Skyrim in the fact that we could actually take out evil fucking people. Like,
Yes, yes.
There's gonna be plenty of cultists. There's gonna be plenty of fucking vampires.
I have a dream of a unified East, of a unified West, where all Orcs can come together when the time is needed to defend against evil.
Yeah, we had that dream too.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I completely agree with the Malacath way and you guys fighting, but just make sure it's worth it. I feel like this war was not worth it on either side.
Yes.
I do not,
I will
do not,
acknowledge that.
I do not hold bias for you guys defending Windhelm or fighting for the Legion, but just make sure it's worth your time. This war was not worth it for either side at all.
Agreed.
And I feel like we all kind of made mistakes along the way that caused this war to happen, and we could have definitely fixed it with a couple words, you know.
Yeah, Centurion, what I will say is that the statement I've made to Glug is that it seems there were many mistakes made by the Largashbur Orcs, and while I may have not been in a position to really influence the whole at scale, I'd certainly be willing to do that moving forward. I think there just needs to be more control and guardrails for the Stronghold Orcs, and that's something that Glug agrees with, and I think we see eye to eye on this issue.
Yeah, I will say, Centurion, Plato, I don't think that this man deserves to die. And one thing that is kind of evidence of this is the ones who ran away and said, we're done with this, those are probably the bad ones. He's sitting here trying to actually save his honor and, you know, do what's right and give his side of the story and shit. I don't think he... I'm not gonna lie, I don't think he deserves to die. Maybe... Now, I'm not the leader of Vashuaga right now, so I don't know what they're gonna say. I will talk to them and say my piece. I don't think that this is one of the bad apples, and I think his goals kind of align with ours, and the fact that we want orcs to be fucking orcs and not part of some political war, right? Or we don't want. Yeah, we can actually do good for Skyrim that has nothing to do with fighting on behalf of other holds and shit like that.
Of course. So what I would like to, I guess an idea I would like to put in place is we go back and speak to the rest of Vashagra. Of course, this is not my decision to make. This will ultimately come up to the legate and the holds. I will convene all of this information to him. We will speak to the Vashagra, I will speak to the legate. We will see what we can possibly do. In my personal opinion, I agree with the both of you. I agree that following orders is part of the job. If the legate told me to go kill a bunch of orcs, or sadly as it sounds, go kill a bunch of civilians right now, I would do it because it's the legate, right? He's my leader, and the same for you guys. So I would like to say I will definitely be speaking with them, and we will see how this goes. I would just simply like to ask that you wait patiently as long as you possibly can here, and let me do my let me communicate and whatnot, and we shall go from there, right? I appreciate you guys for talking normally, like normal people, and coming up with a solution. Although we definitely still have a lot of talks ahead, and we can go from there, right? Does everyone agree with that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say we necessarily came up with a solution, but we came with some common ground at least, and I don't know, like I said, just the fact that he's, you know, the one war leader that's still here, and he's,
I respect
you know,
him for that, of course.
Yes, we had to show him a little bit of respect for that, instead of just, you know, disappearing in the thin fucking air and...
It's most honorable, Glug, thank you.
Abandoning everything. He seems to understand how he was used by others, and trust me, Vashuaga knows how it feels, like we do. That's why we pulled out of the... Yeah, that's why we pulled out of this war in the beginning, and in turn we got, you know, exiled, which sucks, but it is what it is.
I will say on his behalf, I patrolled the city for about an hour and a half, telling people that the legate, the Legion, and many other holds would be coming here for peace talks, right? He had many opportunities to leave, and he stuck around in the court in the middle of the palace. So I do respect him for that a lot. And like I said, we will convene. Let me lock this guy in the cell real quick. We will convene, and we will try to find maybe a middle ground or a solution. But obviously, at the end of the day, that is not up to me.
Yeah, it's not up to me either. I mean,
I
his
understand
fate
how
is
this works. It's alright.
Because you know they had transgressions not just against the Vashuagua, but against the people of Skyrim, and ultimately his fate is in your guys' hands. So I'm not gonna sit here and challenge whatever you guys decide. I mean, it is what it is, you know.
Of course, I appreciate it. I think it is time to maybe end this because I don't want to drag it on longer than it should go. Although it was a very positive talk and very interesting. I think from here we go speak to the rest of your clan, or stronghold per se, gather some more information. I shall speak to the legate and we shall decide what to do from there. Everyone agree with that?
Yeah. Well, Azog, maybe we'll see each other again. I don't know what the future holds for you.
If I don't see you in Skyrim, I'll see you in the Ashen Forge, brother.
Yes, sir. I do wish you luck with everything, and frankly, if any of the bad apples come back and you truly know who they are, tell them stay the fuck away from Vashuagua, or they're gonna get killed. That's all I'm gonna say.
I doubt I'll see them again, but very well. Malakath guide.
Azog, I did want to add at the very end. I will freely admit to you that over the course of this war, I have been one of the many voices campaigning for the total eradication of Largashbur. However, after the events of today, seeing you in person, not in an actual battle, I believe was the first time that we've met on even ground and not been trying to kill each other. I will say that I do greatly respect that you are in fact still here, while the rest of the people that lead Largashbur have fled, along with the coward Tilvan. The fact that you have remained, not only have you remained here in Skyrim, you have submitted yourself to the situation without complaint or resistance, I believe speaks volumes of your own personal honor, perhaps not that of Largashbur as a whole, but you as an individual have demonstrated the ability to accept accountability, even if perhaps you're not the one who deserves it, but you accept it all the same. And I do appreciate that, and you have honored yourself greatly.
I appreciate that statement. Hopefully this ends in a way that we can have another similar positive conversation.
Very well. Let's get this thing moving so I can come back with a decision for you and you don't have to wait here for 15 days, right?
Very well.
Very well. I appreciate your time and thank you.
Goodbye, Azog.
Safe
I will
travels.
have a Windhelm guard sent down here.
Raynor, would you mind sitting here just for a moment while we find a guard to replace you?
Of course,